Now we are going to study about scientific literature review in Sanskrit biology and botany. Sanskrit biology and botany have a rich history of scientific literature review, with ancient Indian scholars making significant contribution to these fields. Here are some key texts and authors. In Sanskrit, Vaisheshika Sutras by Kanta, 600 BCE, Atomic Theory and Philosophy. Nyaya Sutra by Gautama, 600 BCE, by Logic and Astrology. In biology, Chakra Samhita and Chakra, 400 CE, Ayurvedic medicines and human philosophy. Shutra Samhita by Shustra, Ayurvedic surgery and autonomy. Botany in Rajnigantanu by Narahi, 1000 CE, Botany and Pharmacology, and Dharavanti Nigratu by Dharavanti, 1200 CE, by Botany and Pharmacology. So these texts demonstrate the advanced knowledge of ancient Indian scholars in these fields and their contribution to the development of science and philosophy. They also highlight the importance of reviewing building upon existing knowledge, a key aspect of scientific literature review. Some of the key concepts and contribution from these texts include atomic theory and the concept of atom, Vaisesika Sutras, the concept of the three doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha in Ayurvedic medicines, Chakra Samhita, the concept of the seven dhatus, which is tissues in Ayurvedic philosophy, at Sutras Samhita. The classification of plants into different categories, which is Rajani Ghanantu, the description of the various plant based drugs and their uses by Dharavantri Nighatchanu. So these texts have had a significant impact on the development of sciences, philosophy, and medicines in India and beyond, and continue to be studied and revered today. Now, forward to the presentation overview. Importance of scientific literature in Sanskrit. So, scientific literature in Sanskrit is important for several reasons. Understanding ancient Indian specific contributions, Sanskrit texts provide insights into ancient Indian achievement in sciences, technology, and engineering and mathematics. Means STEM. Knowledge preservation. Sanskrit texts have preserved scientific uh, knowledge and ideas for centuries, allowing us to study and build upon them. Historical significance. So, these texts provide a window into the intellectual and scientific advancement of ancient Indian civilization. Language and linguistics. Sanskrit is an important language for understanding the evaluation of languages and linguistic structures. Cultural heritage. Sanskrit texts are a vital part of India's cultural heritage, showcasing the country's rich intellectual and philosophical traditions. Inspirations for modern research. Studying ancient Sanskrit texts can inspire new research and discoveries in various scientific fields. Understanding and traditional medicines. Sanskrit texts like Chakra Samhita and Sutras Samhita are essential for understanding traditional Indian medicines, which is Ayurveda. Philosophy and ethics. Sanskrit texts provide insight into ancient Indian philosophical and ethical ideas, which are still relevant today. Interdisciplinary approaches. Sanskrit texts often combine science, physiology, and spiritually, demonstrating the value of interdisciplinary approach. Global connections. Sanskrit texts have influenced scientific and philosophical thoughts in other cultures, highlighting the global connections and exchange of ideas. By studying scientific literature in Sanskrit, we can gain a deeper understanding of an ancient Indian specific and scientific achievements, cultural heritage, and philosophical traditions, which can inspire new discoveries and advancement in various fields. What is the meaning of Parahasra Vishakra Ayurveda? So, Parasara Vishaka Ayurveda is treatise on plant science in Sanskrit. It is a significant contribution to botany from ancient India. The text mainly deals with the descriptive botany. The date of its composition is not yet known, but the original manuscript was discovered before 1928. The Vrishka Ayurveda is considered a unique work in Sanskrit literature. Sarangandra Samhita is the treatise on Ayurveda authorized by the Acharya Sanhangandra, which is believed to have been written in 12th century. The text is divided into three parts, namely Purva Khanda, which is first part, Madhya Khanda is the second part, and Uttarakhand is the third part. The text is known for its detailed description of various formulations, combinations, and their preparations method in Ayurveda. There is key insights and contributions. There are some types of insights contributions from the Virishk Ayurveda in more details. So there is classification of types. The Virishka Ayurveda categorizes plants into different types based on their characteristics such as trees, shrubs, climbers, and herbs. Soil classification is the text describes different types of soils, their properties, and how to identify them. Plants propagations techniques. Vrishka Ayurveda explain various methods of plant propagation such as seeds, sowings, and grafting and layering. Plant nourishment. The text highlights the importance of plant nutrition and provide guidelines on how to prepare natural fertilizers and pest control agents. Disease management. Virashka Ayurveda describes various plant diseases, their causes, and natural remedies to manage them. Sustainable organic farming. The text emphasizes the importance of sustainable farming practices such as crop rotations, organic manuring, and conversions of natural resources. Natural pest management. It provides techniques from the managing pest and disease using natural method such as using neem, garlic, and cow urine. Importance of cow product. The text highlights the importance of cow products such as cow urine and dung in farming and plant nourishment. Seed collection and storage. See, it provides guidelines on how to collect, process, or store seeds for optimal germinations and growth. Growth and good agriculture practices. The text emphasizes the importance of following good agricultural practices such as proper irrigations, weeding, and pruning. Environmental and water conversations, which is stresses the importance of conserving natural resources such as water and soil and promoting environmental sustainability. These insights and contribution demonstrate the significance of Viraj Ayurveda in the field of botany, agriculture, and environmental sciences, and its relevance even in modern times. So, what do you mean by Sanskrit scientific literature? See, Sanskrit scientific literature refers to the body of scientific texts written in Sanskrit and in ancient Indian language. This literature includes work on various scientific subjects such as Ayurveda, Virashk Ayurveda, which is botany, Rasayana, which is chemistry, Jyotish is the astronomy, Gathinam, which is mathematics, Manasovadhya, which is psychology, Saharika is the astronomy, and Satyaveda is the architecture. So these texts provides valuable insight into ancient Indian scientific thoughts, innovations, and contributions to various fields. Such some notable example of Sanskrit scientific literature include Chakra Samhita, which is Ayurveda, Shrutra Samhita, which is Ayurveda, Vrishka Ayurveda, which is botany, Aryabhatta, which is astronomy, Bhaskar Siddhanta Shramani, which is mathematics, and Nagarjuna Ratnakara is the chemistry. So these texts demonstrate the advanced knowledge and understanding of ancient Indian scholar in various scientific fields and highlights the significant contribution of Sanskrit scientific literature to develop of science and technology. So, what are the contributions of in ancient Indian scholars? So, in ancient Indian scholars have made significant contribution to various fields, including astronomy and mathematics, which is the ancient Indian scholar like Aryabhatta, Brahmaputra, and Bhaskar. Second, have made significant contribution to Indian mathematics and astronomy. Aryabhat proposed the heliocentric solar system model and accurately calculate Earth's circumstances. Medicines. Ancient Indian physicians like Sutra, Chakra, Madhava made significant contribution to Ayurvedic medicines. Shudra is known as a father of surgery, and Chark is a credit as the creditor of Ayurvedic medicines. Algebra and arithmetic, Indian scholar like Aryabhat and Brahmaputra and Bhaskar II, its contribute to the development of algebra and arithmetic. Zero and decimal system. The concept of zero and the decimal system were developed in ancient India. Aryabhat was the first to use zero in his calculations. Immunology and advanced surgery. Ancient Indian physicians made significant contribution to the field of immunology and advanced surgery. Architecture and engineering. The ancient Indian development remarkable structure like step walls, templates, and the places showcasing their expertise in engineering and architecture. So, what are the roles of Asian Indian scholar in shaping the field of plant science, forestry, and ecology? See, in ancient Indian scholar played a significant role in shaping in the field of plant science, says forestry and ecology through their contribution to plants classification and taxonomy, which is Chakra Samhita and Shutra Samhita. Botany and ethnobotany, which is Virash Ayurveda and Rajni Ghanantu. Forest conservation and management, which is Arthashastra and Manu Smriti. Ecology and environmental sciences, which is Rigved and Bhagavad Gita. Plant breeding and genetics, which is Kashyap Samhita. Plant psychologically and biochemistry is the Shudra Samhita. Medicinal plants and pharmacology, which is Chakra Samhita, Shudra Samhita. Agroforestry and sustainable agriculture, which is Virashka Ayurveda. Biodiversity and conversions is Manusmriti. Environmental, physiologically, and the ethics is Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata. So their works demonstrate a deep understanding of plant science, ecology, and conversions and have influenced the development of these fields in India and beyond. Some notable Asian Indian scholars who contribute to plant sciences, forestry, and ecology include Chakra, Sushtra, Kashyapa, Bhagavata, Saurandhra, Brahmit Mishra, Rajnigandhu, Aryabhata, Brahma Mishra, Manusmriti. So their contribution have led a lasting impact on the development of plant sciences, forestry, and ecology, and continue to inspire research and innovation in these fields. So, what are the review of Parshara Virishk Ayurveda? So here is a review of Parashara Virishk Ayurveda is to optimize the productivity of plants and allow the control of pests and diseases without using any chemicals. It describes techniques to help plants and trees to bear fruits throughout the year. It also explains countless techniques how about to fertilize the soil and raise larger fruits, discusses various types of connections with the science of plant life, such as procuring, preserving, treating of seeds before planting, deal with horticulture, home gardening, preservations of plant, soil treatment, water management, and fertilizer. Promises bliss in the Urdhva Lokdas means to the devotees for their services to the environment. That suggests that the tree planting is one of the means to attain the four Purusthas. Give a comprehensive glimpse to the art of classification of soil, land, and implements used in agriculture. Describes the cultivations and preservations of plant from its seed till its maturity. Explain the method for increasing the fragrance of flowers. Explain techniques such as how make a plant bloom throughout the year, bring forth premature maturity to plants, and fruit change the shape and form of trees. Classify soil based on vegetarian of plants of medicines and economic values. Explain the fertility of soils to avoid infertile land and choose soils correctly for growing plants and crops. So, what do you mean by sciences of plant life? The science of plant life, also known as botany, or plant science, encompasses various aspects of plant biology, which including structure and development, which is anatomy and morphology, growth and metabolisms, which is psychologically, evolution and diversity, which is systematic taxonomy, ecology and environment, which is ecology and uh, geology, and genetic and the breeding, which is genetic and plant breeding, biochemistry and molecular, which is biology and biochemistry, molecular biology, plant pathology and disease management, which is plant nutrition and soil sciences, horticulture and agronomy, ethnobotany and medicinal plants. So ancient Indian scholars contributed the significantly to the field through their works such as the science of plant life, a treatise of a plant taxonomy, our medical texts with a section of medicinal plants, our medical texts with a section on plant-based medicines, a text on plants breeding and genetics, and their contribution covered various aspects of plants science, including plant classification, morphology, psychology, ecology, and utility. So these work demonstrate the advanced knowledge and understanding of ancient Indian scholar in the science of plant life. So, what do you mean by forestry and ecology? Ancient Indian scholars made a significant contribution to the forestry and ecology through their work. See, if I'm just talking about the Virishk Ayurveda, it describes forest conversations, afforestation, and sustainable forestry practices. Now, talking about the Astra Shastra, it's outlined the forest management, wildlife conversations, and the environmental policies. Manusmriti, which is empathize the importance of forest conversions and punish those who harms the environment. Rigved, which contains hymns and highlights the importance of nature and environmental conversations. Bhagavad Gita, which is teaches the importance of living in harmony with nature and respecting the environment. Their contribution covered various aspects of forestry and ecology, including forest conversions and management, sustainable forestry and practices, wildlife conversions, environmental policies and governance, ecological balance and harmony, soil conversion and water management, biodiversity and conversions, ethnobotany and the medicinal plants. So these ancient Indian scholars recognize the interconnectedness of the human and natural systems, empathizing the importance of living in harmony with nature and respecting the environment. Their contribution continue to inspire modern forestry and ecological practices. So, what is about ancient Indian knowledge? So, ancient Indian knowledge encompasses a various range of disciplines, including Vedas, which is Hindu scriptures, Ayurveda, which is traditional medicines, yoga and medicines, astronomy and mathematics, architecture and engineering, botany and plant sciences, ecology and environmental sciences, philosophy and the spirituality, music and art, literature and linguistics. So this knowledge was documented in various texts such as Vedas. In Vedas, which we used Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samved, and Atharved. Upanishads, Purnans, Epic Ramayana Mahabharata, Sutras, Brahma Sutras, Yoga Sutras, Tantras, manuscripts, and Bakshali's manuscripts. Inscriptions, Ashoka edicts. So, ancient Indian knowledge has had a profound impact on the development of various fields, including science, technology, engineering, art, mathematics, which is STEAM, and it has also influenced cultures and civilization worldwide, shaping the course of human history. What is the meaning of plant propagation? See, plants propagations is the process of creating new plants from existing ones, and the Asian Indian scholars were well versed in various techniques, include seed propagations, vegetable propagations, stain cutting propagations, leaf propagations, division and separations of roots, tissue cultures means modern techniques, but Asian Indians use similar method. So these techniques were described in Asian texts such as the science of plant life, the treatise on the plant taxonomy, the medical text with a section on medicinal plants, a medicinal texts with a section on plant-based medicines. So ancient Indian scholars understood the importance of plant propagations for food security, medicines, environmental conversions, beautification on landscapings, economic benefits. So their knowledge and techniques in plant propagations continue to inspire modern horticulture, agriculture, and conversion effort. So, what do you mean by Parashara Vishishk Ayurveda? So, as we discussed earlier, it is a treatise on plant science, on botany, that is considered a significant contribution from ancient India, while the exact date of its composition is unknown. It is believed to have been compiled between the first century BC and the first century AD. The manuscript is divided into six parts, but the last part is missing. The treatise reflect the author's profound knowledge of ancient Indian flora and has been the subject of much attention from the diversity experts. So, what do you mean by seed propagation? Seed propagation is the process of growing new plant from seeds, which provides valuable insights into this techniques. Some key aspects of seed propagations mentioned. See, seed selection. Choosing the high quality seeds that are free from disease and pest. Seed preparations. Treating seeds with natural substances like cow urine, ghee to enhance germinations. Sowing techniques means plant seeds at the right depth and distance and using the specific soils mixes. Soil preparations, creating a conductive environment for seed germination and growth. Water management, provide adequate moisture in seedling without overwatering. Nursery management means caring for seedling until they are ready for transplantations. Transplantations is the planting seedling in the field, taking care of minimized root and disturbance. Crop management, which provides support and pruning and pest management to ensure healthy growth. So, British Ayurveda also emphasized the importance of timing, astrological influences, and ritual practices to ensure successful seeds propagations. While some of these methods may seem unconventional and they reflect the ancient Indian understanding of the natural world and its rhymes. So, what do you mean by cutting propagations? See, cutting propagation is a technique used to multiply plants by cutting and rooting the stem leaf cutting. And it describes various method of cutting propagations, which includes stem cutting, which is cutting a section of a stem and rooting it to create new plant. Leaf cutting, which is using the leaf to propagate new plant, as in the case of begonia or African violet. Branch cutting is a cutting a branch from a parent plant and the root it to create a new plant. Root cutting, cutting a section of roots and planting it to create a new plant. The text provides see guidance on having the choosing the right plant, material cutting propagations, preparing the cutting material. For example, if I'm removing lower leaves, treating with the plant's growth promoters, planting the cutting in the right soil and environment, providing the necessary care, which is watering, shading, fertilizing for root development and growth. So it is also emphasizing the importance of timing, astrological influences, and ritual practices to ensure successful cutting propagations. While some of these methods may seem unconventional and they reflect the ancient Indian understanding of plant biology and the natural world. So, what do you mean by grafting? See, grafting is the technique where used to join a cutting spine from one plant into onto the root system of the another plant. See, if I'm talking about the one plant onto the root system of the another plant, which is root stock. It also describes various grafting techniques, which includes the brief grafting, which is joining a sessions of root stock with a whip-like motions. Tongue grafting, which is joining the seasons, and root stalks with the tongue-like projections. Saddle grafting, which is joining the sessions and root stock with the saddle-shaped cut. Inlay grafting, it is inserting the sessions into the cut made in the root stock. The text provider guidance on the selecting compatible sequence and the rootstock species, preparing the cycles and the rootstock for grafting, making precise cuts to ensure a strong union, securing the graft with the natural material like bee wax or plant resins. It's providing post grafting care to ensure a successful union. So, grafting was used in the ancient India to combine desirable quantities of different plants, such as disease resistance of flavorful fruit. Paris Shara Vishak Ayurveda highlights the importance of grafting in plant propagation and improvement. So, what do you mean by plant cultivations? See, in plant cultivations, it describes now talking about the plant cultivations. Plant cultivation is described in Parashara Virashk Ayurveda, involves various techniques to promote a healthy growth and maximize yield. Some of these techniques includes soil preparations using natural amendments like cow dung, urine, and ghee to enrich the soil. Seed selections, choosing high quality seeds suitable for the local climate and soil. Sowing techniques, planting seed at the right depth, distance, and time. Water management, which providing adequate moisture without overwatering. Manuring, which using the organic fertilizers like compost, manure, and green manure. Pruning means trimming the plants to promote healthy growth, increasing yields, and remove pests and diseases. Pest and disease management, which is using the natural method like neem, garlic, and chili to control pests and diseases. See, chili is not that chili. This is something different, which is come from the natural product and having the controlled pests and diseases. To support systems by providing terrestrials, districts, or other support system for plants to grow. Crop rotations, rotating crops to maintain soil fertility and reduce pests and diseases. Seasonal planting, planting crops accordingly to the seasons and astrological influences. So these techniques demonstrate the ancient Indian understanding of plant cultivations and their empathizes on sustainable and natural methods. So what do you mean by um, trading Indian agriculture? Traditional Indian agriculture is described and in other Asian texts is categorized by organic farming practices, use of natural fertilizer and pest control method, crop rotation and intercropping, polyculture and agroforestry practices, empathizing on soil health and conversions, use of local and indigenous crop variety, dependence of on natural rainfall and water harvesting, minimal use of external input and reliance on local resources, integral of livestock and crop farming, consideration of astrological influences and seasons in farming practices. These traditional practices aim to promote soil fertility and biodiversity, conserve water and reduce waste, support local ecosystem and wildlife. It ensures sustainable yields and food security. It maintains rural livelihoods and community well being. So, traditional India agriculture is a testament to the integrity and wisdoms of Asian Indian farmers who develop innovative and sustainable practices that remain relevant today. So, what do you mean by modern agricultural practices? See, modern agriculture practices have evolved significantly from traditional methods, incorporating advance in technology, sciences, and machinery. Some key features of modern agriculture, which includes the mechanizations. See, in this widespread use of tractors, harvesters, or other machinery to increase efficiency and reduce labor. Monoculture. In this large scale of cultivation of a single crop, often relying on heavy input of fertilizers, pesticides, and irrigations. High yielding variety means in this development and use of crop breeds with improved yields, diseases, resistance, and tolerance to stress. Precision agriculture use of GPS, drones, and sensors to optimize crop management, reduce waste, and improve yields. Irrigation system, sophisticated water management system to optimize water use and reduce waste. Chemical inputs, extensive use of synthesis, fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides to control pests and improve yields. Vertical farming, indoor cultivation of crop in controlled environment, often using hydroponics or hydroponics. Generally modified organisms. See, in this, we use the GMOs, use of genetic engineering to introduce desirable traits into crops. So, data driven farming, which is used uh, of big data analytics and artificial intelligence to inform farming decisions. Sustainability focus means increasing emphasis on environmentally friendly practices such as organic farming, regenerative agriculture, and agroecology. While modern agriculture has increased food production and reduced labor, it also raises concern about environment impact, soil degradations, water usage, and the role of technology in farming. So, what is the meaning of plant protections? See, plant protection in modern agriculture involves managing pest diseases and weed to minimize damage to crop and ensure optimal yields. Some common practices includes integral pest management, which is IPM. It is a combining physical, cultural, biological, and chemical control to manage pests. Crop monitoring, which is regularly scouting fields to detect pest and disease issues early. Resistance crop varieties. In this, planting crop bred with resistance to a specific pest or diseases. Biological control, using natural predators, parasites, or pathogens to control pests. Chemical control, applying pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides to manage pests and diseases. Cultural control, modifying farming practices such as pruning, sanitations, and irrigations management to prevent pest and disease issues. Physical control, using barriers, traps, and other physical methods to control pests. Organic farming, which avoids synthetics, chemicals, and relying on the natural method to control pests and diseases. Precision agriculture, using technology such as drone and sensors to target pest and the disease management efforts. Quarantine and regulations, regulating the movement of plant and materials to prevent the spread of pest and the diseases. So, plant protection is the crucial to ensuring food security, reducing crops losses, and minimizing the environmental impact of agriculture. So, what do you mean by organic and natural pest control? See, organic and natural pest control methods are techniques used to manage pests without synthetic chemicals. Some examples, which includes neem oil. See, in neem oil derived from the seeds of the neem tree, it distributes pest hormones and growth. Prythine, see, derived from the Psychethrum flowers, it is toxic to insects. Datamaxius oats, a natural powder made from forest tiles, egg, and it dehydrated and kills insects. Soap solution. A mild dish soap can be used to control soft bodies pests like aphids and whiteflies. Garlic spray. Garlic has natural insecticidal properties that can repel and kill pests. Cayenne pepper. The capsaicins in the cayenne pepper repels and kills pests. Essentials oil. Certain essential oils like peppermint, lemongrass, and tea tree oil have pest repelling properties. Biological control. Introducing the natural predators or parasite of the pest species. Crop rotations. Changing the crop species break the pest life cycle. Physical barriers, using fine mesh or fine meeting to prevent pests from reaching the crop. Traps, using sticky traps or pitfall traps to capture the remove pest. Predator nematodes, the microscopic worms that attacks and kills pest insects. So these organic and natural pest control methods are environmentally friendly and non-toxic and promote sustainable agriculture. So, what do you mean by sustainable farming techniques? Sustainable farming techniques are methods of farming that prioritize the long-term health and productivity of the land, as well as the well-being of the farmers and the environment. Some example of sustainable techniques, which includes para permaculture. See, in this, a design system that mimics nature of create diverse and resilient ecosystem. Regenerative agriculture, which is the practice that enhances soil health, biodiversity, and ecosystem services. Agroforestry, integrating trees into farming system to promote ecological interactions. Cover cropping, planting crops between the cash crops to reduce corrosions, erosions, and improve soil health. Crop rotation, rotating crops to break diseases and pest cycles to improve soil fertility. Organic farming, avoid synthetic fertilizers and pesticides and using natural method to control pests and diseases. Biodynamic farmings are holistic approaches that view the farm as a self-contained economic and ecosystem. Polyculture, growing if you're growing the minimizing soils disturbances and having the culture with multiple crop together to promote diversity and reduce pests and diseases. Polyculture, I already discussed, which conversion and agriculture minimizing the soil disturbance, preserving soil moisture, and using cover crops, integrated farmings, combining crops and animal productions to create a more diverse and resilient farms ecosystem. Precision agriculture, it is a using technology to optimize input and reduce waste. Rational grazing means moving livestock to different pastures to improve soil health and reduce erosions. So these sustainable farming techniques promote soil health, biodiversity, water conversions, ecosystem services, farmer well-being, environmental stewardships, climate changes mitigation, food security. So these all comes and reduce the use of synthetic inputs, promote ecosystem services, and support rural development. So, what do you mean by review of Saranghadra and Samhita? See, consider as one of the Laghuitrai, a set of three treatises in Ayurveda, the other two beings Bhavapraksha and Madhava Ninda. Sargandhra Samhita is well developed piece of Ayurvedic literature. The text is divided into three parts with 32 chapter and 2,600 verses that explain various drugs formulation and therapeutic procedures. Saranghadra Samhita is written in a simple language, making it a great handbook for scholars and practitioners. So this treatise is a popular as a textbook of which Bhai Sanchra Kalpana, which is the arm of Ayurveda that deals with the pharmacology and paramedics. Saranghadra Samhita is one of the standard references from the Ayurveda medicines along with the Chakra Samhita and Shustra Samhita and Ashtanga Sanghara. So, what do you understand by medicinal properties of plants? So, plants have been a virtual source of medicines from centuries, and their medicinal properties have been extensively researched and utilized in various traditional system of medicines. Some example of medicinal properties of plants includes anti-inflammatory turmeric. See, it is a cucumber longa, which is ginger, and ginger have a gingerbread offering crable antichromosal, which is neem and tulsi, antioxidant, which is green tea and ashwagandha, analgesic, which is the opium poppy and willow bark, which is Salix albula, anti-cancer, which is the Mangadaskara prequintual, which is the Pacific view. Cardiovascular health is the hawthorn and the garlic. And digestive health is the peppermint and the licorice root. Immune system support is the Encrussia and ginseng. Antiviral is the lemon balm and elderberry. Wound healing is the aloe vera and the candula. So these medical properties are due to presence of various bioactive compounds such as alkaloids, glycosides, phenolphthaleins, and terpenes, which have been isolated and studied for their therapeutic potentials. What do you mean by ecological roles of plants? Plants play a vital ecological roles in maintaining the balance of nature and supporting life on Earth. Some of the key ecological roles of plant include oxygen productions. See, plants produce oxygen through the photosynthesis, supporting aerobic life. Carbon sequestrations. Plant absorb carbon dioxide mitigations, climate changes. Soil formations. Plant root hold soil in plants and decaying plant matter forms humus. Nutrient cycling. Plant absorb and release nutrients maintaining soil fertility. Habitat provisions. Plants provide shelter, foods, and breeding grounds for animals. Primary productions. Plants are the primary producers of ecosystems supporting food chains. Climate regulations. Plant influence local climate through transpirations and shading. Air purifications. Plant remove pollutants and toxins from the air. Water filtrations. Plant helps filter and purify water through their roots and leaves. Erosion control. Plant roots hold soil in place, preventing erosions and landslides. Medicinal resources. Plant provide medicinal compound and inspiration of drug development. Food sources. Plant are primary source of food for human and many animals. Plants are the foundation of ecosystems, and their ecological roles are essential for maintaining the balance of nature's supporting life on Earth. Ancient Indian plant science and modern scientific parasites. See, Ancient Indian plant sciences as documented in texts like Rig Veda, Chakra Samhita, Sarangdhara Samhita demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of plant biology and utilizations. So some key aspects including classifications, plant were classified into categories like tree, shrubs, herbs. Morphology, it is a descriptions of plant parts like roots, stems, leaves, and flowers were detailed. Physiology is a concept like photosynthesis and the respirations were understood. Pharmacology, plants were used for medicines with knowledge of their bioactive compound. Agriculture, cropping practice, soil management, and irrigation techniques were developed. Modern scientific practice have validated and expanded upon this ancient knowledge with advance in molecular biology and by understanding plant genetics, genomics, and gene expressions, biochemistry, educating plants, metabolics, um, pathways in the biochemical processes, ecology, studying plants' interactions with environment and other organisms. Biotechnology is developing genetic engineering tissues, culture and precision culture. And pharmacology is the isolating and the synthesizing plant divert drugs with a deeper understanding of their mechanisms. So the integrations of Asian Indian plant sciences and modern scientific practices has led a comprehensive understanding of plant biology with application in medicines, agriculture, and conversions. So, what do you mean by medicinal properties of plants? Plants have been a rich source of medicines for centuries, and the medicinal properties have been extensively researched and utilized in various traditional systems of medicines. There are some example of medicinal properties of plants include anti-inflammatory, turmeric, anticlobical, antioxidant, analgesic, anti-cancer, cardiovascular health, digestive health, immune system support, antiviral, wound healing. So these all the medicinal properties are due to the presence of various bioactive compounds such as alkaloids, means morphine and the risperidone, glycolides, which is dexonins and acuben, phenolics, and tannins and the flavonoids. Terpenes is the menthol and the camphor. So plant have been valuable source of medicines and their medicinal properties continue to inspire modern drugs discovery and development. So what do you mean by Sarangadhara Samhita? So as we discussed earlier, it is a classical Ayurveda treatise attribute to the Acharya Sarangadhara that focuses on the pharmacology and pharmaceutical methods in Ayurveda. This text is divided into The total 32 chapters and 2600 verses. It is one of the most important and popular treatises of Bhai Sakrap Kalpana in Ayurvedic. So, what are the medicinal properties of plants? See, plants have been used for the centuries for their medicinal properties, and many modern drugs and are still derived from the plants. Such example of medicinal properties of plant, which includes pain relief. See, willow bark is contains salicylic and acids similar to the aspirin. Anti-inflammatory, which is turmeric, contains curcumins, which reduce inflammations. Antimicrobials, which is neem. Neem has antibacterial and antifungal properties. Antioxidant. Green tea contains catechins and which protect against cell damage. Cardiovascular health, which is hawthorn, and it improves the blood flow and reduce blood pressure. Digestive health, which is peppermint, relieves indigestion and nausea. Immune system support, which is stimulates the immune system. Anti-cancer, which is specific U, which contain Taxol used in the cancer treatment. So these properties are due to various bioactive compounds like alkoxides, guanides, phenolics, and terpenes. So plants continues to be a valuable source of medicines, inspiring modern drugs discovery and development. So what do you understand by traditional Indian medicine? So, traditional Indian medicine is also known as Ayurveda, is a system of medicines that originated in India over 3000 years ago and empathizes a holistic approach to health and wellness, focusing on the physical, mental, and spiritual aspect of individual. Key principle of Ayurveda, which includes five elements, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Tridasha, which is three doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which governs the body functions, Ahar, uh, Virhar, and Aushdhya. Diet, lifestyles, and medicines, concept of Prakriti, um, individual's constitution and Vikriti imbalance, use of natural remedies, including herbs and plants and minerals, empathizes on prevention and self-care, which is Ayurveda. Uh, in Ayurvedic practice includes yoga and meditations, herbal medicines and pharmacology, diet and nutrition counselings, and life's guidance and the stress management. Ayurveda has contributed significantly to develop a various systematics and system of medicines, which includes Unani and Siddha. It continues to be an essential part of India's healthcare system and has gained popularity worldwide for its holistic approach to health and wellness. Now we will go further of ecological roles of plants. So plants play a vital ecological roles in maintaining the life of nature and supporting the life on earth. Some of the key ecological role of plant includes primary procedures. Plants convert sunlight into energy through photosynthesis, supporting food chain. Oxygen productions. Plant release oxygen as a bioproduct by photosynthesizing, sustaining aerobics life. Carbon sequestrations. Plants absorb carbon dioxide, mitigations climate changes. Soil formations and erosions. Control plant root and hold soil in place of contribute to soil formations. Nutrient cycling, which plant absorb and release nutrients, maintaining soil fertility. Habitat formulations and the provisions. Plants provide shelter, foods, and breeding ground for animals. Climate regulations. Plants influence logics and local climates through transpiration and shadings. Air and water purifications. Plant remove pollutants and toxins from the air and water. Food source. Plant are the primary source of food and human and many animals. Medicinal resources. Plant provide mechanical compound and inspiration for drug development. Plants are the foundation of ecosystem and their ecological roles are essential for maintaining balance of nature and supporting life on earth. So, what are the importance of plant in ecosystem? Plants are the backbone of ecosystem, playing a crucial role in maintaining balance of nature. Their importance cannot be overstated as they produce oxygen through photosynthesis, supporting life from the base of food chains, providing energy, and food chains providing herbivores and carnivores, stabilize soils, preventing erosions and landslides, supporting biodiversity, offering habitat and shelter for various species, regulate water cycles, influencing rainwater and groundwater recharge, modulate climate changes, absorbing carbon dioxide and storing carbon, purify air and water, removing pollutants and toxins, provide medicines with many plant species and offering medicinal properties, support human well-being, offering psychological and benefits through nature connections, maintain ecosystem and resilience, enabling adaptation of environment changes. Plants are the foundation of ecosystem and their importance extends far beyond their aesthetics value, and they are the unsung heroes of the natural world, diversing our appreciations and conversion effort. What do you mean by soil conservations? So, soil conservations is a practice of protecting and preserving soil health, preventing erosions, and maintaining its fertility. Some key method of soil conversions include terracing. The building terraces to reduce soil erosions on sloping land. Contour farming, planting crops across the slopes to reduce erosions. Cover cropping, planting crops to protect soil between the crop cycle. Crop rotation, rotating crops to maintain soil fertility and structure. Mulching means applying organic material to soil surface to retain moisture and suppress weed. Conversion tillage, reducing soil disturbance through minimal or no-till farming. Windbreaks, planting trees or shrubs to reduce wind erosions. Soil testing, analyzing soil properties to guide conversions efforts. Organic amendments, adding natural materials like composites or manure to enhance soil health. Integrated pest management, managing pests and diseases to reduce soil degradations. Soil conversions is a crucial for maintaining ecosystem services, supporting biodiversity and ensuring long-term agriculture productivity. Water management. Water management refers to the process and practices used to manage water resources effectively, efficiently, and sustainability. So, this includes water conversions, reducing water waste and usage, water harvesting, collecting, storing, and rainwater, collecting the rainwater and for future use. Water storage, building reservoirs, dams, and tanks to store water. Water treatment, removing contaminants and pollutants from water. Water distribution, it is a delivering water to households, industries, and agriculture. Water reuse is a reusing treated water for various purposes. Watershed management, managing water resource across entire river basins. Flood management is a preventing and mitigating flood damage. Irrigation management is the optimizing water use in agriculture. Water quality monitoring is it tracking water quality to ensure safety and health. Effective water management is essential for the ensuring public health and safety, supporting economic development, maintaining ecosystem health, adapting climatic change, reducing water conflicts, and sustainable water management practices are the crucial for the resilient and water secure future. So, at last, I just want to conclude Sanskrit, an ancient Indian language, has a rich tradition of scientific literature that offers valuable insights into various branches of knowledge. By exploring Sanskrit scientific literature, we can gain a deeper understanding of the historical development of sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields in ancient India. Some key takeaways from the Sanskrit scientific literature, which is Ayurveda, mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, botany, physics, engineering, and metallurgy. See, metallurgy is the expression of processing of metal like iron and copper. Exploring Sanskrit scientific literature offers a used perspective on the history of scientifics and highlights the significant contribution of ancient Indian scholars to the various fields of knowledge. By studying these texts, we can appreciate the achievement of ancient Indian scientists and scholars, gain insight into the development of scientific thoughts and innovations, understand the cultural and historical context of scientific discovery, foster a deeper appreciations for interconnectedness of the knowledge across the culture and time. By delivering into Sanskrit scientific literature, we can uncover the rich scientific heritage of ancient India, gain a more comprehensive understanding of the evaluation of human knowledge.